obviously I'm going to start recording this. Let's get no board going here so that you guys can see what's going on the screen. And boom, shakalaka. So here is where we left off last class. So last class we got around to kind of, drawing out a lot of these basic shapes with our spline or a plane or something. So we're really kind of utilizing all the techniques that I've kind of showed you guys how to use over the past couple of weeks here. So the next thing I want to address is this middle guy right here, and just kind of getting that guy in there. So for that, we're gonna make a cylinder. Just gonna make a little cylinder like that. And then, as you guys know, it's a two-step operation. So I've created the radius. Now I'm creating the height. And if you see these numbers right over here, right, that's going up. So now I'm just going to click. And then if I rotate it, I'm going to hit A on my keyboard so that it snaps. Right here, my angle snaps are on, so that when I turn that on, now it's snapping based on these 5-degree angles. I want to turn it 90 degrees, right? W, move it over a little bit like so. Now that I can see where it is, I just want to pull that guy over and then just increase the height till it meets the other side, and go from there, right? As you guys can see, this is, you just start small. You don't end with the model, so with the model finished. So you just start small. You start with a cylinder. I'm gonna hit Alt X so I can see how thick it is, and I'm just gonna make sure, just want to make sure that it's gonna encompass that thickness, and it does. So that is cool. Maybe just reduce it a little bit, because I think there's like an internal radius, and then there's this little cool tribal drawing marking thing all over it, and that's what we're gonna address next. And you guys know how usually we can address some of this stuff is just drawing on the surface. So next thing I want to kind of do is maybe align this guy to the center of our little talisman here. Make sure it's centered, and then now when I pull it up, I know that it's perfectly in the center of this guy. So something that helps us out as well. All right, so we've pretty much got all of those talisman pieces from the front. So the next thing we want to do is we want to kind of just draw some of these little pieces that are on the back here and how they kind of connect. So if you can, if you want to know, how they continue into each other, so you can tell that this piece right here kind of goes into this piece right there, and then this piece, the center piece, is right there, and then there's these little tribal markings, little squigglies. These are very impressive. Obviously, these are very magical squigglies. If you guys have ever, seen squigglies these magical, I'd beg to differ with you. It's very magical. So let's draw some of our magical squigglies. I just went and grabbed a spline here, so I'm just gonna boom, boom, shift, drag, right? And it's got, some of these little, it's not as robotic as I'm drawing it, and I'm going to give it my own little flair, but, to start with, I'm just going to draw out the basic shape here. I'm not going to expect it to be, some high-tech fancy thing. I'm just making it happen. So maybe do this. I'm right-clicking, and then it stops drawing the line, right? So I'm drawing the line. Whenever I get to a point where I want to stop, I've got this little extra one. Boom, right-click, it stops drawing that line. And I've got two options, right? If I want to start a new shape, right, whenever I click again, it'll start a new shape. But if I don't want that and I want it to continue, I can turn off this little option right here where it says start a new shape. And then I can just continue drawing, and it's going to attach this this shape that I have to the one that I've previously drawn. So it's not creating a new spline tool every time. So, you just want to know to, use that whenever you need to. So you can group your splines accordingly. All right, so. And the thing is, you can do this as well with planes, right? You can do this with planes, whatever you need to do with. I'm just, you know, just drawing this stuff out. As you guys can see, this is very, very hard stuff to do right here. You know, drawing these fanciful lines here. Right, you know, you guys are probably like, wow, he doesn't even care. Yeah, I don't. I'm just trying to get him out, right? So that's something that is on the screen, and that's something that we could probably do with like a graphic or something, right? And as you guys see, the back is super different because the back of this guy, right? It doesn't have that rune all the way through. It apparently ends like midway through the front, and then on the back it's got this screen that shows you wherever you need to go and things like that. So things like that we need to pay attention to, and you know, make sure that we're getting that across in our overall design. So what I'm doing, I'm using this back guy as a template right now, and I'm just gonna start, you know, I'm just gonna finish it out. Let's draw some of these circle things that it's got going on in here, and we're just gonna create our little circles, nothing crazy. Just drawing some circles. Happy circle right there. It's got a little blue dot. Alright. This is you know, it's one of those really hard jobs that you have to do, just drawing circles. Just drawing circles. Yeah, hard life. It's like construction work, only harder. I know. The life of a 3D artist is back-breaking labor. I mean, my finger, I have to click all this stuff, and you know, so. Of course, I'm joking, but it's always fun. All right, so yeah, I'm just doing what I need to do, making sure that I've placed the things where I need to place them. And, you know, I don't have to recreate this whole back thing because I've already created it one time. So I don't need to recreate it again. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna duplicate it. And then I want to create myself this screen on the back and stuff. So that's the only thing we'll need to do. So for that, I'm just going to, let's actually start. Let's clean up some of these. And the easiest way, I'm just going to attach all of them together. I'm just going to start, you know, I can click and attach all these guys together like so. Attach. I don't know why I can't say attach. Stop saying attack. I don't know. It's like a Freudian slip. Alright, let's now grab all of our points here and see what happens if we convert them to smooth. Okay, it doesn't do a bad job. Right? The idea is, you know, you kind of want to get that similar shape. Sorry about that. You just kind of want to get that similar shape. And I am just trying to get this stuff in there. Just making sure everything's got kind of like a smooth, you know, transition. Alright, so these aren't bad. So I'm just trying to get these right to the center, right? Kind of like an average, right? If you're, I think, yeah. I want to kind of average the distance here and try to get these guys in the center as much as possible. Right, that's the idea. Because, you know, I've got two options of how I can treat these guys. Okay. So, yeah. Here we go. Right, so there's some of these I'll treat a certain way, and some of these other ones I'll do something different too. So the ones that have these connections to circles, we're gonna want to treat a little differently than some of these other squigglies that don't have anything to do with the circle. So that's what we're gonna do, and the reason is because with these guys you want them to intersect and look like they're all part of the same thing, and these you don't really care, and you can do something simple to them. So, and I think I'm missing one as well, so I'm just going to attach this guy, one on the keyboard to select that vert. It's a corner right now. I just wanted to make it smooth so that it's got that smooth transition. And as you guys can see, I wasn't really super careful about how I was drawing this, just because it's supposed to be some organic hand-drawn rune magic stuff. If it's something that's supposed to be like a hard surface, like it's like a gun or a weapon of some sort, you want to make sure you retain you care about how that transition's going. But for something that's like, oh, it's supposed to be some guy drawing some magical talisman stuff, yeah, you can kind of let the computer determine some of these smooth points, just kind of get them in the center a little bit. So now that I've gotten that, I'm gonna separate once again. So I'm just gonna separate the guys that don't have actually, let's not do that. Let's actually select all of them, and what we're going to do is and for some of these guys right here, yeah, it's fine. I'll do what I'm about to do now, and let's attach all the circles to them so that everything has the circles in there now. All right. So I'm just gonna attach the circles. Boom. I think that's all of them. And then hit 3 on the keyboard. Oh, 3. We'll select my spline, select all of them, and I want to just give them an outline. So now I'm going to give them an outline from the center. Whoops. Like so. All right. And what this does is it gives us these guys, and now we can just use our trim tool to get the shape that we desire. So the next part of this would be just like trimming all this stuff. So I'm just gonna hit 3 on my keyboard once again, and if we go down to our editing tools right here, we can start to just kind of trim some of these guys out. So that's what I'm doing. Just gonna trim. Okay, I'll deal with some of that stuff that I'm seeing later. Alright. So we're just trimming. Just gonna select this guy actually. Bring this guy up. Hit 3. Trim this guy out of there. Alright, and as you guys know, these are all unwelded, so you're going to want to make sure you weld these guys back up. Whoops. I want to meld them separately. Weld. Just going to turn this guy into a corner just to make sure that I don't have any issues. Oops. You want to make sure you don't have any overlapping verts and, you know, edges and stuff like that, just because it's going to give you some funky issues, and you want to be careful about that. Just want to be careful, very careful. So, you know, as you guys can see, I'm just kind of matching that. Scale these guys down a little bit. And that's the, you know, kind of the cool thing about working like this. I'm just gonna oops, didn't weld them. If I reduce the threshold, it should work. Just weld. Weld that. Weld that. This guy's pretty small. Okay. Right. As you guys can see, it's just a matter of just now welding, going back and welding these guys back up. Weld. Select this guy here. Just gonna scale this guy down. I can bring these guys up. Right. A little blue circle in the middle. All right, so you know, it's just really a, you know, one of those things that you guys just, the more you guys do the process, the more you guys understand it and work on it, the better you guys are going to be at this stuff. So I'm just making sure all these guys are welded together. And I'm just, you know, kind of going back and making sure I don't have a lot of overlaps and stuff. And it's a huge thing with this stuff is if you got some overlaps, you're going to run into some issues. And might even just like that. Just bring these guys up. And you can weld them together. All right. And if you're running into issues where, oh man, something's getting too much, you can always delete extra ones, right? So you can always delete extra verts that you don't need and stuff to kind of help clean up what you're working on. You know, so don't be afraid to get rid of stuff that it's like, if it's getting too hard to work with, right? You know, say, okay, well, this is getting too much. I need to kind of reduce the mess and get you know, get something simpler. And sometimes just simplifying the mesh for yourself really kind of opens up, oh, okay, this is what I need to do to get it to where it needs to get to, or this is what I need to do to make it look better. So, you know, don't be afraid to get rid of what you need to. Like, if it's not helping the silhouette, right? Look at this. I can just remove this because I know, oh, all I need is this guy and this guy to do what I need to do. I don't need that extra stuff. And if I want that bend, I can use a Bezier corner to achieve it. So sometimes getting rid of stuff is better, and you don't have to stick to whatever points that you've already made. You know, sometimes the more points, the worse, you know, the mesh will look. You know, that's not always going to be the solution, is to add more verts to your mesh. So you gotta kind of take it with a granular of salt. So whoops, let's bring this guy up. And the good thing about this stuff is it's already not like perfect. It's not like some, like I said earlier, it's supposed to be organic and hand drawn. So yeah. So the way to know if everything's welded, once again, right? So I'm just gonna make sure everything's welded, making sure. Weld. And if another way to know is just select one, so if I go to my spline mode and I try to select an entire spline, oh, it's selecting one of those. So now I know that, okay, these guys aren't welded, and it's splitting those. And it'll show, usually you'll know, okay, that's where it's split up. So now if I hit edit poly, boom, right? So I'm missing one right here. So now I can go back and I know, well, if I hit 3 on my keyboard, right, you can see it's not welded right there. So these are ways that you guys can check your mesh and make sure that what you're doing is correct. I'm going to turn this guy into a corner. You see how it's like turning in on itself like this? If I turn it to editable poly, it's going to disappear because it's just turning in on itself. So what you're going to want to do is right click, turn that guy into a corner, and you'll see immediately that it comes back. So just be careful. Just be careful. Now. All right, so we've built that information that's going to go on the back itself. We've blocked out this little cylindrical piece here. The next thing I want us to kind of do is with this guy, let's address this situation right here, because it's got like this little clipped off piece, and that's easy for us to do. All we just need to do is just we can select a line, and we'll use this as like our cutting line or our cutting element or whatever. And I'm going to use that. And I'm just going to go into my editable spline here, attach this guy, select this guy, and I can just outline it by a little bit. It's a lot, so I'm just going to grab this guy and boom, like that. If I grab this, I'm just going to make sure that, because I'm looking at where it kind of, so it's kind of like right here. All right. So now all we'd have to do is hit the trim tool. All right. We can then trim these guys up like so. Hit 1 on the keyboard. All right, and then just weld those guys together. These are still not welded. There we go. some reason it was not attempting to weld those. Now, whenever we do our... Okay, that should be it. Whoa. What just happened? So they got moved on the y-axis, so we just need to copy this, and then we can oops. Negative. There we go. Right, so I'm just gonna do that for all these. Control V. I'm just gonna do negative. Whoops. Control V. There you go. Alright, so they should all... What just happened? Okay, so... Okay, so I need to move these guys. What I'm doing here is I've got this absolute mode, and that just makes sure, you know, it allows you to push in an absolute form. So what I'm trying to do is just find an anchor point for myself, right? So that I can use that to place these guys that are kind of misplaced and out of place. So if I can't see my transform or where they are, I can just turn that off. And now if I select one of these verts, it shows me where that vertex is located in X, Y, and Z space. So all I need to do now is if I want to match that, I can just copy that location for this guy and then just paste it. Or all these guys. I just hate having to do it one at a time. It's pretty annoying. All right, so yeah, so that's gonna be it for the day. Let me finish up by, I'm just gonna select this guy. Boom, like that. Shift, drag, make it an instance actually, and then rotate it 180, and now we can go ahead and just kind of place our little Roonies on this guy. We're gonna have to take care of, you know, this extra stuff here, and then draw this. We'll have to add a piece of glass to the front of this. Like right here. Yeah, something along those lines. So, all right. So that's what we're gonna talk about next week. We're gonna, kind of integrate this here screen into our model and our mesh, and kind of start drawing some of those detailed markings again. So, as usual with these, once we've created these little guys, we just throw a bevel or something on there. Throw an extrude or a bevel, one of those, and you should be good. I mean, this would be one of those situations when using that retopology tool wouldn't even be a bad idea either, because then you could get some way nicer topology for everything, right? Which is super cool, and then you can still throw on a turbo smooth. You've got clean geo all the way around. And with some of these are kind of like perfectly straight. I would go in and throw like a noise modifier after I've thrown this guy on. I just throw a noise modifier on there just to shake it up a little bit and not make it look so mechanical. And that's that's what I try to tell you guys is some of the problem with this stuff. This stuff just can look so mechanical. Just it's a straight line. So it'll be our job to go in there and mess it up a little bit and make it look more organic and hand drawn. So that's what we're going to focus on next class. Hopefully you guys are, kind of understanding this stuff a little bit better the longer you guys do it. So that is going to wrap up this Friday class. I appreciate you guys showing up and doing your work and posting really, really much. So